There are habits people brush off every single day as just how I am. Cracking jokes about your own pain, saying sorry 20 times in one conversation, working late every night because you love what you do, being the friend everyone vents to, but never the one who vents. On the surface, these look normal, even admirable. But psychologists are increasingly clear about something most people don't want to hear. A lot of the behaviors we celebrate or ignore are actually your brain quietly screaming, something isn't right. Today, we're counting down 10 behaviors everyone thinks are normal, but that research shows are often warning signs of deeper mental and emotional overload. If you recognize yourself in some of these, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means your coping mechanisms have been working overtime, and it might be time to listen to what they're trying to tell you. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, making yourself the punchline you. Know that person who is always the funny one? They roast themselves before anyone else can. They turn their failures, their body, their trauma into jokes. People say, wow, you have such a good sense of humor about everything. Humor can be a powerful, healthy coping tool. It really does buffer stress and improve mood when it's used to reframe tough situations in a lighthearted way. But not all humor is created equal. Psychologists talk about adaptive humor and maladaptive humor. Adaptive humor is laughing with yourself and others. Maladaptive humor is laughing at yourself constantly, so no one sees how badly you're actually hurting. Studies show that people who rely heavily on self-defeating or aggressive humor styles report higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depressive symptoms compared to those who use kinder, self-enhancing humor. In other words, always making yourself the joke can be less, I'm so chill, and more, this is the only way I know how to talk about my pain without making everyone uncomfortable. If every serious moment in your life gets immediately covered with a punchline, and people tell you they've never seen you genuinely upset, even though you are upset, that funny personality may actually be a mask your brain built to survive. Number 9, apologizing for existing. Sorry, quick question. Sorry, this might be stupid. Sorry for bothering you. Sorry, I look like this today. Sorry, I'm sorry, wow, I say sorry too much, sorry. Over-apologizing looks polite and self-aware from the outside, but therapists point out it's usually not courtesy, it's fear. People who apologize constantly are often dealing with low self-esteem, my needs are a burden, anxiety, if I don't smooth everything over, something bad will happen, old relational trauma, last time I asserted myself, I got punished. Mental health. Professionals describe over-apologizing as a classic people-pleasing behavior, taking responsibility for everyone else's comfort so you don't get rejected. Sites that work with anxiety and trauma clients note that chronic apologizers often grew up in environments where they were criticized, shamed, or made to feel too much. Apologizing became a way of asking for permission to take up space at all. So when every text, opinion, and boundary comes wrapped in sorry, that isn't harmless politeness. It's your nervous system bracing for impact, as if simply having needs requires a legal defense. If you notice you say sorry more than thank you, your brain might not be telling the truth about how small you're allowed to be. Number 8, living in therapist friend mode. Every group has that one person everybody runs to. Friends call them at 2 a.m., coworkers trauma dump in the break room, relatives unload their drama at family gatherings. And this person listens, supports, gives thoughtful advice, but when they are struggling, they either shut down or say, it's fine, other people have it worse. Being empathic is beautiful, but always being the unpaid therapist while never letting yourself lean on anyone else is often a subtle form of self-abandonment. Clinicians who work with people pleasers describe a pattern. They measure their worth by how useful they are, overperform in emotional labor, and rarely ask for help themselves. On paper, you look incredibly strong. In reality, you may be teaching your brain, my role is to absorb, not express. If I'm the one with problems, I lose my value. I don't deserve the same care I give. Over time, that imbalance breeds quiet resentment, burnout, and deep loneliness, even while surrounded by people. If you're always the one people cry to, but you have no idea who you could call on a bad day, that good? Listener, identity might actually be a warning sign that you only feel safe when you're the strong one. Number 7, being proud of never saying no. You take every shift that's offered. You help every friend move. You stay late, cover, pick up, volunteer. Your calendar is full, your battery is empty, and whenever someone asks for something, your reflex answer is still, yeah, no worries. People call you dependable. They say, "You're such a good person," and you are generous. But chronic overcommitting rarely comes from pure generosity. It usually comes from a belief that your worth is conditional. Therapists link this pattern to people-pleasing and fear of abandonment. If you associate saying no with conflict, rejection, or guilt, your brain learns that boundaries shows danger. So you say yes past the point of exhaustion. You say yes while resenting everyone. You say yes until your body starts saying no for you, through headaches, insomnia, digestive issues, and constant stress. What looks like being easygoing and helpful is often your nervous system in survival mode, doing whatever it takes to avoid disappointing anyone. A healthy person says yes from choice. A burned-out people pleaser says yes from fear. If setting even a tiny boundary feels like you're committing a crime, that's not kindness. It's a warning sign that you don't yet believe you're allowed to have limits. Number 6, using work to escape your life. There's a behavior society openly applauds: workaholism. First one in, last one out. Always on email. Grind now, rest when you're dead. We treat nonstop work like a badge of honor, but research is brutally clear. Chronic workaholism is strongly tied to burnout, anxiety, depressive mood, and physical health problems. Large studies have found that people high in workaholism scores have significantly higher odds of depressive symptoms, poor psychological health, and sickness absence due to mental health issues, even after controlling for other factors. One study of almost 4,000 workers found that those in the high workaholism group were more than 3 times as likely to report depressive mood than low workaholism workers. Another review links workaholism to emotional exhaustion and health impairment processes over time. So why do we still glorify it? Because from the outside, it looks like dedication. On the inside, it often feels like relief. Work becomes a socially acceptable way to avoid feeling lonely at home, escape unresolved issues in relationships, numb out anxiety by staying productive. Your brain discovers that as long as you're busy, you don't have to feel. So it keeps you busy, even when your body is begging for rest. If you don't know who you are without your job, if days off make you restless or guilty, if your health is collapsing, but you still check your email in bed, that's not just ambition. That's your coping mechanism, writing your schedule. And your burnout is the warning sign that it's not sustainable. Number 5, calling yourself lazy instead of looking deeper. A surprising number of people walk around narrating their life like this: "I'm just lazy. I have no discipline. If I weren't so useless, I'd have my life together." They talk about themselves like a cruel boss doing a performance review. But chronic difficulty starting tasks, even ones you care about, is rarely about moral failure. It's usually about overload. Psychologists point out that what looks like laziness often masks depression, everything feels pointless and heavy; anxiety, the task feels terrifying, so your brain avoids it; ADHD, trouble initiating action and managing attention; perfectionism, if it can't be perfect, better not start at all; self-criticism doesn't fix any of those. Instead, it deepens shame, and shame is a terrible fuel source for motivation. So you get a cycle: hard thing, anxiety or fatigue, avoidance, self-insult, even more anxiety, even more avoidance. The more you call yourself lazy, the more your brain starts to believe you're incapable, which makes it even harder to start. If part of you desperately wants to do things, but another part can't move, your problem is not laziness. Your system is overwhelmed. The behavior, doing nothing, looks simple. The reasons behind it are anything but. That hopeless, "what's wrong with me" voice, that is the warning sign. Number 4, needing noise. 24/7. We live in a noisy world, so this one hides in plain sight. You wake up to a podcast, you commute with music, you work with videos playing in the background, you fall asleep to a show, so you don't overthink. Nothing inherently wrong with liking sound, but many therapists notice a pattern. For some clients, constant noise isn't about entertainment, it's about avoidance. When your brain has unprocessed anxiety, grief, or trauma, silence stops feeling peaceful and starts feeling dangerous. That's when the thoughts get loud. So without even realizing it, you develop a rule: no silence, ever. You're not thinking, "I must avoid my emotions." You're just thinking, "I'm bored without something on." But your nervous system is using noise like a painkiller, short-term relief that prevents long-term healing. If you panic at the idea of sitting alone with your thoughts for 10-15 minutes, or if you notice that silence makes you instinctively reach for a screen, that's not just I enjoy media. That might be your brain saying, there's stuff in here we really don't want to feel. Avoidance works until it doesn't. And the moment it stops working, when you can't distract yourself enough, that's when things often collapse. The warning sign is that you never let your mind be quiet long enough to hear what it's been trying to tell you. Number 3, joking about wanting to die. I'm going to kill myself, said with a laugh after a bad exam. Time to just jump off a bridge, haha. Lol, I hope I get hit by a bus tomorrow. Dark humor is common online. People bond over shared misery and cynicism. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For some people, jokes about self-harm or wanting to die are not jokes at all, they're rehearsals. Research on humor as coping shows that joking about distress can either reduce stress or mask serious psychological pain, depending on the style and context. When humor becomes self-defeating rather than self-supporting, it's strongly associated with higher distress and poorer mental health. Clinicians often say, if someone jokes about suicide constantly, especially when combined with other warning signs, withdrawal, hopelessness, giving things away, major life stressors, you take it seriously, even if they say they're just kidding, because the brain sometimes floats the idea out as a joke first to test. Is it safe to say this? Will anyone notice? Will anyone care? If you catch yourself repeatedly using death or self-harm as a punchline about your own life, that's not edgy humor. That's a part of you waving a flare. You deserve to treat that part with more compassion than a meme. Number 2, isolating and calling it just being low maintenance. You stop replying as fast. You leave group chats on read. You cancel plans with I'm just tired or I need alone time. You tell yourself and others that you're just independent, introverted, or not needy. Alone time is healthy. But withdrawal that stretches from hours into weeks or months, especially if your mood is dropping, is a classic sign of depression and anxiety, not just personality. Mental health guidelines consistently list social withdrawal as an early warning symptom, not because being alone is bad, but because humans are wired for connection. When that wiring goes offline, mood spirals faster. People pleasers and overfunctioners are especially prone to this. When they finally burn out, instead of asking for support, they disappear. They don't want to be a burden, so they suffer alone and call it not wanting to bother anyone. If your version of recharging leaves you feeling more numb, more hopeless, and more detached from people who care about you, that's not self-care. That's your nervous system hitting the emergency brake, and your brain pretending it's just a personality preference. The warning sign isn't that you like alone time, it's that you've quietly decided nobody gets to see you when you're not okay. Number 1, turning your entire personality into I'm fine. Think about how you answer the question, how are you? Do you say I'm fine, so, automatically that you barely even check first? Do you change the subject the second someone asks a follow-up? Do you have a reputation for being the person who never complains? From the outside, this looks strong, chill, drama-free. On the inside, it can be emotional shutdown. When you grow up in environments where your emotions were punished, mocked, or ignored, your brain learns a brutal lesson. Feeling sucky, danger. Needing sucky, danger. Showing sucky, danger. So, it adapts. You stop checking in with how you feel. You keep functioning. You smile. You say, I'm fine. Your life becomes performance mode. The problem is, your body didn't get the memo. Unfelt emotions don't disappear. They go physical, chronic pain, headaches, digestive issues, insomnia, irritability. Clinicians who work with trauma survivors see this constantly. People who have no language for their emotional world, but their bodies are screaming. I'm fine isn't a crime. Sometimes it's true. But if it's your answer every single time, even to yourself, if you feel weirdly blank when you try to describe your inner world, if the only emotions you recognize are stressed and tired, that's not emotional maturity. That's a warning sign that you turn down your emotional volume so low you can't hear your own life anymore. Conclusion: your normal might be a survival strategy. Let's recap the 10 behaviors. Making yourself the punchline, apologizing for existing, living in therapist friend mode, being proud of never saying no, using work to escape your life, calling yourself lazy instead of looking deeper, needing noise. 24/7, joking about wanting to die, disappearing and calling it low maintenance, turning your entire personality into I'm fine. Each one looks normal. Most are socially rewarded. Some even look like strengths. But underneath, they share one thing. They're all ways your brain learned to survive. Situations where healthier options weren't available. Humor to survive pain. Over-apologizing to avoid conflict. Workaholism to avoid feelings, even as it quietly erodes your mental health. People-pleasing to prevent abandonment. Emotional numbness to stay safe when vulnerability used to be dangerous. These behaviors are not proof that you're weak. They're proof that at some point you were under pressure, and your brain did whatever it had to do to keep you going. The problem is, survival skills don't automatically switch off when the danger is over. They keep running in the background, shaping your personality, your relationships, and your health. So what do you do with that? You don't have to pathologize every quirk. You don't have to freak out because you recognize yourself in a few of these. But you can. Notice which of these hit a nerve. Ask, what is this behavior trying to protect me from? Consider talking to someone, safe or a mental health professional, about what you find. Experiment with tiny changes. One less apology, one honest answer instead of "I'm fine," one evening where you actually rest instead of working. Your behaviors are not random. They're messages. The question is whether you keep calling them "just how I am" or start treating them as signals worth listening to. If this video made you see yourself a little differently, hit like, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden psychology of everyday life, and tell me in the comments, which normal behavior hit you the hardest? And what do you think your brain has been trying to say through it?